GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? Let's go. Let's go, GMGP. It is Monday, December 26th. JRich, just a few days away from Santa Claus coming to town, baby. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with me, my dog, my brother from another mother. Ho, 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 ho. All of y'all out there, damn near close to Merry Christmas. We got fantasy playoffs, underdog fantasy, advancement rates, FFPC, NFL draft, Heisman trophy winners. JRich, how the hell we gonna talk about it all? We got 1 hour, baby. We got
no
one
idea, man.
hour to do. How we gonna do it? How we gonna do it, Jay? Mock Monday coming out today, Jay.
Yes.
Listen, man, hey. We keep
some big
saying,
changes?
Jay, we keep saying Tennessee. I think they're gonna give Will Levis another man, I don't know. I don't believe it would be prudent for the Titans to go into the 2025 season with Will Levis. But we got the people in the building. Larry K was popping with you, GMGP. Larry, hope you got that Christmas shopping done. Marcus, I saw your ass in the building. How you doing, big dog? GMGP for my dog, the UT man himself, Marcus Myers. Shout out to you, big dog. And yes, smash that like button. I saw my girl Joe in here. Joe was already in the conversation. Good morning, Joe. Flowosaurus, Alex Fuller, Hector in the building, Kelly Poole, Adam, MV Prov, Damon Morris, Weeze, as always. Whoa. Fredo talking about the king is dead. Yeah, man, them damn running backs, Jay. RBs leading the way to fantasy glory at Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, amongst others, let us down. And we let the people down with an awful call. Jay, let me get you on the screen because you didn't know. Good morning, Jay. You didn't know. I said our stone worst call from the Friday show. You don't even remember who it was because it was very quick.
I don't remember.
It was a short excerpt that somebody asked, should we play him? And we just dismissed this dude. And you don't know who it is, Jay. You didn't see it in the show doc. You want to know who it is, man? We got just flat out wrong about this weekend. Let me pull him up. Tyjae Spears, Jay. We dismissed him on Friday. We dismissed him. And what sucks about this is we loved Spears at the start. He ain't do shit all year. Spears ain't done a damn thing all NFL season. And this week he wants to catch passes, run for a lot of yards, score touchdowns. Man, I can't believe it. We were dead ass wrong about Tyjae Spears this week, Jay. So was the whole world. But, man, we were very dismayed. I was watching. I was like, damn. We told somebody, do not play Tyjae Spears, and he is smashing on the week. Jay, how you doing, baby?
I'm good, man. It was a definitely interesting week of football. A bit of haves and have-nots at the quarterback position. You know, you talked about Will Levis. Now, to be fair to Tyjae, there was definitely some garbage yards and garbage points.
I don't care how you get it
done
at this point.
We'll take them, right?
I don't care.
After those Levis interceptions, they had to come back. So it was pretty funny to see what happened there. But yeah, Tyjae, great game from him. Four rush attempts for 5 yards and that great touchdown where J.C. Latham threw him into the end zone.
Score you a TD, Tyjae Spears, even though you didn't run the damn ball. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of injuries. Jay, a lot of injuries, a lot of news. I mean, we're rolling into, we got 2 Monday night games or Monday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, we have Vikings-Bears, which should be a fun game. And then we got Falcons-Raiders with no Max Crosby because he's not playing, and we don't expect AOC to be available either, which should be lots of fun for us.
All right, well, let's get into the news, talk about it. There are a lot of things. We got some college football. We're going to touch on some theory from the college game, and then there's some dominant performances along with some stinkers this past weekend. But, Jay, give it to us straight, baby. Facts. Let's go.
The biggest news in the world of sports. covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts.
So as you guys might have caught over the weekend, there was a lot of injuries, especially at the quarterback position. We will start off with Patrick Mahomes, who has a high ankle sprain, and we don't even know how bad it's going to be. They're going to have to see how the swelling was overnight, do imaging on it today, and hopefully he will be available. But Ray, as I'm sure you heard, he plays on Saturday. Now that game is at home against Houston, and then they play on Wednesday at Heinz Field on Christmas Day. So Mahomes and the Chiefs have a very tough schedule coming up. Not just the games themselves, but also potentially without Patrick Mahomes. I mean, as it stands now, I think it's hard to believe he plays against Houston, but they probably need him to, with the Bills only being 2 games behind them and potentially could now be in play for the #1 seed. But against Pittsburgh specifically on Christmas, he has to be available for that game. So hopefully he can be, but I think definitely Saturday is in question, and they're probably going to be preparing Wentz to start all week. Now, Justin Herbert got his ankle rolled up on yet again. This guy just takes a beating back there every single game.
Yeah,
he was
man.
dealing with injuries coming into the game, and he got his ankle rolled up on a sack once again. So Herbert, just at this point, limping to the finish line for the Chargers, but they're still trying to make the playoffs, and they still are in pole position to do it. But they have a big game this week against the Denver Broncos. That is going to be the battle, I believe, would be for the 6th seed right now in the AFC, but big game for both sides. And if you're a Bengals fan, big game for the Bengals as well if the Denver Broncos do lose that game. Now, Tommy DeVito suffered a concussion and did not play the rest of the game. And we got Tim Boyle, which you never want to go full Boyle, and did not work out so well for the New York Giants. Kyler Murray was also injured, getting sandwiched between 2 Pats defenders. I haven't heard or seen what the injury was, but he didn't return to the game. And Clayton Tune came in, which, I mean, the game was pretty much over by that point. Did you see what it was?
I want to say it was knee, but I'm not sure.
It was weird. He was just like
I thought it
the
was
ball
knee.
away.
I saw knee.
Yeah. There was some knee on knee. There was potentially could have been a hit to the head. It was a few different things. It was just him getting sandwiched between 2 guys. But I haven't seen an official report on what it was for him. Jalen Waddle got rolled up on and what looked like a very, very bad injury, whether it's a high ankle sprain. There's been talks of potentially some knee contusion issues, whether it's the ligaments in the knee. So we still have to wait to see what happens.
He had that tightrope surgery on the ankle too, Jay. He had the same, I believe it was the same ankle. He had tightrope surgery.
Yeah, so the tightrope surgery on the ankle, and then you also have the new could-be high ankle sprain at this point for the Dolphins. They're pretty much out of it after the loss this weekend, so I wouldn't expect Waddle to play, especially if the injury is even a little bit serious. Now, one of the big issues for the Seattle Seahawks is that Geno Smith suffered a knee injury and could not return. He tested it on the sidelines and wasn't able to come back into the game. And lucky for us, we saw Sam Howell go, I believe, 5 for 24 or something ridiculous, one of the worst QB performances we've ever seen. But Geno could miss some time. I mean, he really tried to come back in this game. He just told the coaches, like, I can't go. And especially behind that offensive line, we've seen Geno struggle at times, but you really see how bad it is once Sam Howell goes in there and stinks it up. So if you're a Seattle fan or you have Jack Smith and Jigba, Zach Charbonnet, who was actually okay, surprisingly, in this game, even with how bad Sam Howell was, and then DK Metcalf, you may not have those guys down the stretch if Sam Howell is forced to play, because he was really, really bad. Now, Trey Benson also suffered an ankle injury and could be out for some time, potentially as well. And you have James Conner heading to play the Panthers this week. So if you have James Conner, you could be in for a massive workload for him this week. A.J. Brown, hip drop tackle on the last play he played of the game. I think he's okay, though, Ray. It just, he's a little slow to get up. So
I think he's okay
there, but Brown has been a little in and out throughout the season at times. Jake Haener was benched for Spencer Rattler.
Wolf.
Surprise, surprise. The zesty one is horrible. Jameis Winston was benched for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And Bo Nix and Anthony Richardson had an interception off in Denver, and it was disgusting. There was 6 total interceptions, depending on how you feel about the fumble 6, interception 6, whatever it was, from A.D. Mitchell. But the Denver Broncos got it done, Ray. Big game in Denver. Denver finally got a big win. Indy is, I believe, now officially out of it for the playoffs. And you have some news in the college ranks, because I lost some money, Ray, over the weekend betting on a Mountain West running back to win the Heisman. But what did you think of the Heisman
why did
ceremony?
you do that?
What are your thoughts?
Why did you bet on? Why did you put money on Genty to win? It was.
You know me. There's no
and you left off Will Levis, man. Will Levis was out there. He got his ass replaced by Mason Rudolph. 3 picks.
Forgot about Will Levis.
He is
he's awful.
Not good. I continue to give Tennessee and Will Levis this benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe with they give him some weapons. You can go in and you can't go in the next season with them. I really I don't know
Callahan's
what.
sick of him, man.
I don't
You
know
can
what
tell.
some of these teams are going to do. He is not good. He is not a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. He's not one of the top 32. And it kind of leads in to this conversation because the backup quarterback for Penn State, Tyler Primula, whatever his name is, he's transferring. The backup quarterback at Penn State, who got a little PT, is transferring, leaving Penn State, which has the speculation circles going a little crazy that potential first-round pick quarterback Drew Allar is going to be returning to Penn State and not declaring for the 2025 NFL draft class, which would be just another massive hit to the 25 class. If you don't get Allar in there, we saw Quinn Ewers. He's not a first-round pick. Carson Beck already saying he's coming back to Georgia for another year. Nobody knows what Jalen Milroe is going to do, but he's playing in the bowl game. It really could be a two-man race at QB, and then after that, you just throw a dart at Jackson Dart in the third or fourth round. So with this potential rumor that Drew Allar could potentially be coming back, maybe doesn't look so good for us in our rookie drafts for the quarterback position if all we're getting right now is what looks like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. And we saw both of those guys join Travis Hunter. They were out there in New York for the Heisman ceremony. Cam Ward was one of the actual finalists along with Dylan Gabriel, Ashton Genty, and yes, the aforementioned Travis Hunter. Shedeur was there playing catch with Malik Neighbors, which led to a lot of speculation about what the Giants want to do. And regardless if it's Shedeur or Cam, they're taking a quarterback, right, Jay? You look at what they weren't able to do with Tommy DeVito / Tim Boyle. Fans don't want to be there. It is awful. They're taking one of those quarterbacks. But yeah, Travis Hunter, he ended up winning the Heisman. Yes, let's go. Travis Hunter, he has been pseudo Colorado Buffalo fans since the migration from Jackson State to Boulder, Colorado. Very excited for Travis Hunter. Very deserving. It was a very close race. It felt
one of the closest, right, in voting history.
Felt like it wasn't close, and then right at the end, it got real political there, and it got tight. It got tightened up a little bit. There were a lot of people out there stumping for Ashton Genty, but Hunter won the award, and he's getting a lot of. He posted a video last night, man. I was watching it this morning because everybody wants to comment on his relationship with his girlfriend that he's been with for 5-6 years. And he was just saying, like, I don't know why everybody is commenting on my relationship. I've been with her for 6 years. I know her. It hurts her. Like, it hurts me that people are so. He just seems like a really good dude. He seems like a really good young man. And, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but you know what, Travis? This is going to be part of your life. You're going to be a superstar athlete, a public figure. You got to be able to, duck in water, man. Let that stuff roll off your back. But good for Travis Hunter. And your New England Patriots actually sent a subliminal message to Travis Hunter. Did you see that this weekend? Did you see?
I didn't. No.
What happened? Where they took cornerback Marcus Jones, put him on the offensive side of the ball, and I think he scored a touchdown in the game. I think he took it to the crib, or it was a long play. But it was just a lot of people were like, that's a DB playing some receiver for the Patriots. Van Pelt and Gerard Mayo getting it popping already for their potential number one pick if they can lose some more games, because it looks like the Giants and the Raiders are going to be right there at the top. Anything news-wise that we missed on that we need to touch on, Jay?
I don't think so. No, it's just Shedeur and Neighbors is the big story for me, man. Giants still number one right now. And then the big game this week, Vegas, after they get past the Falcons, which they'll probably lose that game, they get to play the Jags in a battle for the number 2 overall pick, hopefully. The Jags got to win that. Jags got to lose that game, but if they win, that basically puts Vegas in the driver's seat for that spot.
All right. We didn't talk about it at the top. Make sure you check out Scott Connor on Destination Dynasty, his roster construction series, wide receiver position today, right now on the feed. Make sure you check that out. And then tomorrow, it's going to be the last content on the channel for our content creators for the year. We're giving them the rest of the year off. Relax, spend time with family. Christmas next week. I know y'all haven't done your damn shopping. Get that done. But JRich and I, end of this week, got some special news for you. More Dynasty and fantasy football content, more NFL and NFL draft content coming to DD Airways near you. So this week, we're going to do an announcement. And I have not forgotten, Jay. I have not forgotten. I'm very grateful and thankful. This has been a very fun NFL season. I'm going to get sentimental with the crew for a little bit. We'll get into the show. But it's been good waking up 3 days a week with y'all. Everybody's here. Stanley, Elwood, Luke. Like, I feel like we're family, Joe. Damn it, we're family. Where the hell is Jimbo at? We're family in this thing. I want to make sure that I am true to my word, and anybody that I may have wronged over the 2024 year, I want to make it right with the chat. So, New Era sent me a bunch of shit. I got a bunch of team hats. I still got boxes from the draft stream, and I think I still have a couple of jerseys that were unclaimed. I mean, Puka Nacua was unclaimed. Signed Puka Nacua, unclaimed. Sam Laporta, unclaimed. 7 for 111.
Sam Laporta.
7 for 111 for Sam Laporta. Don't you dare talk about Sam Laporta. But because of that, we are going to do just a holiday ho giveaway on the stream. So I don't know if we're going to do it one morning where we stay on until every last fucking hat and box and jersey is given away. Could be an hour, could be 7 hours. I hope to God it's not that long, but we will stream until everything is given away. And Jay, because I know the people be thinking, the people are like, Ray, it's going to take them a year to check this out. Check.
Oh, here we go.
Not only, Jay, not only are we going to send it out, we're going to print the address out live on the show. I got the printer right here. We are going all right, Joe, Stanley, you win it. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to print the label out, box it, put the shit at the front door. So we're going to
print your address out right on stream.
Right on stream. We're going to give it away to everybody. I'm going to show everybody your address so people can pull up. But we're going to give a bunch of stuff away. We'll have details on that. It's going to be really dope, really cool. Just a little end of the year thank you. And I've got to expend some more marketing money for tax purposes before the 31st. So we will do this before the end of the year and give all this shit away because we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Jay, let's get into the weekend, man. Let's get into the weekend. Quarterbacks smashed. Woo! Wide receivers smashed. Running backs, we didn't really get what we needed from the big dogs. But let's start with the top. I think the game that there were a couple of games this week, actually, that people were really excited about. Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. We also had, the barn burner that was the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. We got to see my Cowboys get a dub. The Cowboys, very impressive against Bryce Young. Michael Parsons was all over the field. But let's
make you happy?
No, I'm not happy. Let's start with Buffalo and Detroit, Jay.
Dude, what is there to say at this point?
Dude, what do you want?
Another 40-point performance by the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 23 for 34, 10 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns on the through the air, 2 more on the ground, 68 on the ground for Allen. Ray, there's nothing else to say, man.
But we had this
deliver.
I'm yours.
Weeks ago.
He's got a lot. 362, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. 11 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. MVP is locked the F up. Who did we call? I think we picked Buffalo. I think I picked Buffalo to go into Detroit and beat the Lions.
We talked about this weeks ago. About him coming in and winning. It was the Rams game. We didn't think we'd lose that one.
And he's doing it. You know who the leading receiver was for the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, Ty Johnson again.
I don't want to be dismissive and disrespectful of Amari Cooper, of Keon Coleman.
You know he got no targets, right?
He's doing it with nobody right now. Inside of this offense, Khalil Shakir, sure, good player, but we don't look at him as one of the NFL elites. What more is there to say about how dominant Josh Allen is? He's incredible, Jay. He's incredible.
Yeah, Josh Allen's ridiculous, man. And to think that, like you said, Ty Johnson, leading receiver, Keon Coleman, 1 catch, Amari Cooper, 0 targets in this game. He had 14 last week, comes into Detroit this week with nothing. You still have Amon-Ra going for almost 200 yards on the other side. Jared Goff throwing for almost 500, 5 touchdowns,
talk about Goff.
No interceptions.
Talk about Goff. Talk about
only
how
3
good Goff
sacks.
Was.
Goff did what he could, man. But
500 yards in 5.
At some point, the Lions have to get a stop, and they could not stop Josh Allen. That's literally it. And this is where you just have to look at this Bills offense and say, man, if they could just play some decent defense it'd be so difficult to stop them because right now, offensively, they look like one of the best teams in the NFL. And while Detroit was great on the other side, again, they couldn't get enough stops to stop Josh Allen. And thankfully for them, they don't have to play him until the playoffs. But Ray, I think what's most interesting about this now is you have the Lions at 12-2. You have Philly at 12-2. And if the Vikings beat the Bears tonight,
they'll be 12-2.
They will also be at 12-2. And they play week 18 potentially for the division.
So that means they would have to go.
Could be the number 1 seed. All 3 teams have to run the table to have a shot at the number 1 seed.
Really?
And especially the Lions and Vikings, they do play that week 18 game. And I believe that game is in Detroit. I believe it's in Detroit.
Who won the first matchup?
Detroit won.
It's going to be a tight race.
Yeah, so was it Minnesota?
You
they
even
won by 2.
And what's unfortunate about all this is we're talking about the Vikings and the Lions being 12-2, going for that number 1 seed. I think Green Bay is just as talented. They just happen to play in a stacked division. But you saw them out physical Seattle. I mean, it was very obvious in the first quarter. It just looked like that they were the more physical team. They could do whatever they wanted, run the ball, throw the ball. This NFC North is no joke, and it is truly going to be a race down to the wire, to the finish. Jared Goff was incredible again, though. 5 touchdowns. James Cook, awesome. Amon-Ra St. Brown. What did he have? 14. What did Amon-Ra have? 190 something?
190, yeah. 190, 14, 194, and a touchdown. It was
it felt
crazy.
It didn't even feel like he did much early in the game. It felt like for 2 quarters, it was like, where's Amon-Ra? And then all of a sudden, 200 damn receiving yards for him. Sam Laporta had 111 yards. I mean, everybody got in the mix. Ty Johnson led the way in receiving yards. Dalton Kincaid was getting his looks and targets. This was just a fun matchup for fantasy. Jahmyr Gibbs. What did Gibbs and Monty do? I know Gibbs scored late. Did Monty do anything? That's the one.
Monty, I'm pretty sure, struggled, but Gibbs was 8 for 31 in the touchdown on the ground, then 5 for 83 in a touchdown through the air.
Touchdown.
I believe he finished as RB1 as it stands right now. Or he's behind James Conner. But RB2 right now, Amon-Ra, wide receiver 2, Jared Goff, QB2, like pretty much everybody ate in Detroit. It's just funny how Allen was QB1, but all of his supporting cast outside of, if you started Ty Johnson, didn't do anything crazy for you. They just did okay. Kincaid was pretty good in this game for fantasy purposes if you started him. But, when Amari's doing nothing and Coleman's only catching 1 pass for 64 yards, granted, it kind of sucks. All those points, over 100 points scored in this game, or 100 points scored in this game, and the Buffalo assets did next to nothing. It was just Josh Allen.
All right, let's everybody was awesome in that game. I mean, just great game. Let's talk about a team, not necessarily a game, because this was not a game, but Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns for Lamar Jackson, plus 65 rushing yards, 290 passing. Rashad Bateman, the big recipient of the big play from Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews got in the end zone as well. Not a lot from King Henry, but talk about Lamar and his performance on Sunday. 5 TDs, 290, 65 on the ground for Lamar. Definitely help you advance if you had Lamar Jackson on the week.
Yeah, I mean, you could go as far to say he was surgical, especially the touchdowns to Rashad Bateman were right on the money. You're kind of surprised that it's Bateman catching those touchdowns because remember, I asked you, I believe on the show, like, how do you feel about starting Zay Flowers? And Zay Flowers did fine, 6 for 53, but Justice Hill caught a touchdown through the air, Bateman with 2 touchdowns through the air. Lamar was great in his own right. It's just, for whatever reason, even though this game was well in hand, there wasn't really fears of them losing it. Henry just didn't get the ball that much, and they threw the ball into the end zone, and that kind of is what it is. Lamar delivered, but Henry did not, and it just seemed like this was the week where all the running backs just didn't get the work, and it all went to the quarterbacks and the wide receivers.
Another quarterback who was very good on the week, and he's been good all season long. It's been quite the performance from Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield, but he too was awesome. And just watching Baker, if anybody watched that game, how could you? He's running around for yards, picking up 30-yard runs, slinging it. He's going to throw a pick. That's just going to happen. That comes with the Baker territory. But he was incredible too. Baker Mayfield, I want to give it a shout out. Hey, we're here talking ball, right? We make fun and we poke jokes. But Karen Rodgers went out there and had himself a day too. He was surgical as well. Balling. He had a damn good day. Cooper Rush balled out at the quarterback position. Cooper Rush! Greg Olsen was tearing him a new one the first 10 minutes of the game. I thought Trey Lance was going to come in the way they were talking about Cooper Rush, but he ended up doing what he needed to do, and they went ahead and dismantled the Carolina Panthers because they are not a good football team. Any other good quarterback performances that we're leaving off of the board? I think Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield.
Love for Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Got the ball to his receivers, right?
Yeah,
got
it
his receivers.
out there.
Two through the air, one on the ground.
Did you see after A.J. Brown scored, he runs over to Jalen Hurts, and then they do the house party dance to let everybody know we still boys, we're still good. Fade the narratives, we're okay. Yeah, everything's okay when you're catching passes. No shit, A.J. Brown. The other quarterback, I thought Mahomes played well. He played well. 2 touchdowns for Mahomes, not a big yardage output. Got hurt. It was
tough for Mahomes.
In that matchup. It was a tough game. The QBs who were just awful, that did absolutely nothing, Tua, JRich. Just if you had Tua on the week going into your fantasy championship, 1 touchdown, 4.9 a completion. Not a rush, a pass. 4.9, 3 brutal picks, 3 sacks, and he fumbled the ball. I mean, he was bad for Tua in that same game. CJ Stroud.
It never feels like he has a good game, but he got the ball to Nico Collins, which is good.
Nico Collins, 4 for 17 for 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. That saves the day. CJ Stroud, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, sacked 4 times, QBR of 40, and he lost a fumble.
Yeah.
This does not feel like the same CJ Stroud that we had last year. Blame it on the O-line, blame it on the offensive coordinator, blame it on whomever you want to. This ain't the same dude that we had last year. So hopefully things get better, O-line improves, and we get the real CJ Stroud back next season. Any other QB? Bryce Young also was bad too. Fumbling the ball left and right. He made some good throws. Jalen Coker caught a long one. JD5 was good. I didn't mention him in the great category. He was very good, but sacked. I think got sacked like 10 times in the game. I'm not even at
37 yards.
How many times?
8 for 37
Okay, I exaggerated a little bit, but 8 times, 8 sacks in the game.
Those
not
are Sam
good.
Howell numbers, right?
And then Geno Smith, Sam Howell, not good. Just kind of, you had your.
What did you think of Jordan Love last
halves and your have-nots at the quarterback position this week. If you started some of those fringy-ass quarterbacks, you probably didn't make it.
Oh.
You didn't make it. You did not make it. If you had to start, the mid-off between Denver and Atlanta, between Anthony Richardson and Bo Nix, the QBR average, but as bad as Rich was, okay, as bad as he was, Bo Nix was even worse. We talk about Tua's 4.9 in attempt, Bo Nix 3.9 in attempt for Bo Nix. 3.9 in attempt, 3 picks. He also threw 3 touchdowns. Rich, 2 picks, no touchdowns, took a live under half a touchdown. Rich, plus money, no touchdown for Rich. JT drops the damn ball. Benito holding his nuts, diving in the end zone. A.D. Mitchell gets the most obvious throwback. And he stands there, he spins it, pumps, throws it right to the damn DN. Touchdown. What are you doing? What are you doing, Adonai Mitchell? Just a shit show from Indianapolis, and Denver still hanging in there in the playoff spot.
Good.
What else we need to what other quarterback news do we need to discuss? Who?
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones was celebrating.
300
Mac
yards?
Jones was celebrating in the third quarter like he had won the game, and the next thing you know, I looked on the screen and he was pouting off the field with a nail. I'm like, dude. He was when he threw that time. He's running around like he's he's getting first downs and doing all of that. I'm like, let's go, Mac. Next thing you know, Jags lose and walking off the field in shame. So Mac Jones will get a chance.
BTJ, 10 for 105 and 2 touchdowns.
But we haven't gotten to the receivers yet. We got to go running back. We'll get to the receivers just absolutely smashed. Let's see what the chat is saying, Jay. You see any good comments in the chat? Taylor dropped the TD. Yeah, we'll get to the
saying
RBs.
Russ wasn't good. Yeah.
Yeah, Russ wasn't good. Yeah, Russ
wasn't cooking. But without Pickens, it's a struggle for him.
Yeah, Ike says early season Bo Nix. Yeah, Bo was wilding. Here's one right. Be more like Lamar. Stroud, a buy, sell, or hold.
What's the price?
He's not a sell. He's not a sell. You don't sell him now.
Probably not, no.
If anything, I would say he'd be a buy. If anything, because he is still a good quarterback, man. He probably should have never been put in that QB2, QB3 range. Because if you're not it's not all about the dual threat quarterback. You can't just be a running quarterback and be good. You got to be able to throw the goddamn ball, but you need some rushing in there a little bit, right? A rushing TD here, 40, 50 yards there. You see the great ones be able to do that unless you are Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, to where you're going to throw for 35, 40 touchdowns a season. He's still a great quarterback, man. He's still a really good, talented quarterback. There's just a lot that you have to do if you're going to be a pass-first quarterback to be a true difference maker at fantasy. So I think it's just a market correction of his price. Should have never been priced that high, but I don't think he's getting benched. I don't think they're going another direction. He's their franchise quarterback. Improve the offensive line. They definitely need some more weapons around him, and he might not be this truck of a quarterback yet. So if I had to answer that question, Jay, I think the real answer would be he would be a buy for me based on his price and how people feel about him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? So, like, my question to you is, how do you feel about the offense? Do you think it's as simple as, well, you buy him now, it's probably not going to get better this season, but you hope for better next season? Like, my only fear is, what if the NFL kind of figured him out and Slowick doesn't know how to adjust, right? And then at that point, you know, you have Slowick, who they re-signed and they brought back because they didn't want him to get a head coaching job, which now he's definitely not getting that. But he's also probably stuck with Slowick for as long as he's the OC, which is definitely into next year and could be beyond. So that's my only fear with Stroud. It's not that he's a bad quarterback, but this slump is like, it's
Command the Room
slump.
said it. Shout out to Command the Room. Shout out, baby. What's going on, Command the Room? CJ having a sophomore slump. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they have now. CJ Stroud came out, he punched first, right? He was the boxer that punched first. Yep. Now he got countered. Now we got to see how he responds, because you don't think that he hears it and sees like, damn, I'm not, it's not going as good as it did last year. I'm sure he will get in the lab, figure out what defenses have done to limit him, to neutralize some of the big play, and they will tweak. It doesn't look like Bobby Slowick's getting no damn head coaching job, so he should be back. Good continuity. And as inconsistent as the Houston offense has looked, defensively, they've been lights out. They have been a lights out,
saving their asses every
defensive unit this season. So this is still a really good team, and I trust DeMeco Ryans and company to keep it going. So I would answer that question with buy CJ Stroud at his current cost. Let's hit the break, hit the thumbs up button, like the channel, like the stream, like the content. We'll be right back, and we'll round this thing out talking about whatever the hell y'all want to talk about. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Monday, December 16th. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay. We appreciate you being in the building. If you're new to the channel, we have a good time. We ask you to support the channel, and you do that by hitting that thumbs up button, liking this video, and subscribing to the Ray GQ YouTube feed. A lot of good stuff coming here to this channel, to other channels here in the near future, so make sure you're tapped in. Destination Dynasty on the podcast radio feed. Scott Connor going through the wide receiver position. Make sure you check that out. Jay, where do you want to go, man? Where do you want to go? We got to go receivers, baby, because your boy, I don't know what he did to you in a past life. Something must have happened, reincarnation. I don't know what it was. But you've got this bone to pick with Mike Evans. And death taxes in fantasy playoff season, Mike Evans decides to show the hell up because he's only about 200 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. So we are going to get the best version of Mike Evans. And, man, did he smash this weekend. Jay, 40-17, Tampa Bay beats Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers. Baker, we talked about him having 4 touchdown passes, 288 yards. 159 of those 288 went to Mike Evans on 11 targets, 2 touchdowns for Big Mike. Jalen McMillan also got in the end zone. Mike Evans, the old man, does it again to help you in the fantasy playoffs. How good is Mike, Jay?
Mike Evans is very good. He was catching passes downfield that I didn't think he had the speed anymore to get down the field, but he's getting through safeties. He's cutting up field. Mike Evans was phenomenal once again, and it's just his chemistry with Baker is off the charts. We kind of saw it a bit last year, but you see the even further development. Baker's telling him where to go on the field, and then Mike's doing it after the catch as well. Ray, I don't think we've given enough credit, though, to Jalen McMillan, if I'm being honest. Like, there was the reports in the offseason that he won the wide receiver 3 job, and we kind of talked about it, but then he got hurt a bit, and
didn't play that much.
Godwin and just wasn't overly involved. Godwin's been out for a while now. He's healthy again, and every week he seems to be getting a lot of looks and performing at a very high level. So I have to ask you, like, do you think there's a world where maybe McMillan is a buy right now? Because he could be the wide receiver 2, and Baker's obviously going to be there going forward.
Yes. With the injury and age to Chris Godwin, the broken, I think it was broken ankle, broken fibia, one of those lower leg.
Yeah, it was lower leg.
Yeah, lower leg.
It was a fibular.
With that, and Chris Godwin, I believe, suffered an ACL tear earlier in his career as well. The injury history, I mean, Mike Evans, at this point, he's probably not going to practice anymore this season. He'll just show up on Sunday and do his thing on Sundays. Absolutely. It looks like, I mean, you look at Baker, Jay, he is 4th in the NFL in passing yards, 3rd in the NFL with 32 touchdowns. How can you not like rooting for this 29-year-old? I mean, he'll start until he doesn't want to start anymore. I mean, he's got another 8 years to start at quarterback in the NFL. Very good. Yeah. Mike Evans is playing great, and I do think that Jalen McMillan should be somebody that should be on your dynasty radar if you can get him, and because he's not the one. And he hasn't had that big, I know he had 2 touchdowns last week, scored again this week, but he hasn't had that eye-popping 190-yard game to make everybody kind of stand up. If you're tapped in and dialed in, you're like, hell yeah, I've been watching McMillan. This is a player that I've liked. But for the masses, probably still a little bit sleeping on what he could be into this year, going into next year. So yeah, I would say yes, I would be on the camp of buy Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, I mean, they're drawing up plays for him. Like, anyone who saw his touchdown, it was a nice wheel route design play. Like, that's when you know a player is probably a buy at an offense that you like. And if Baker's going to be the quarterback, which we know that's going to be the case, and potentially if he's the 2, they're going to keep drawing up plays for him. And that's when you want to start buying a player. It's not so much when they're making plays kind of on their own and just running their routes. It's when you clearly see they're scheming touchdowns for a player like McMillan. That's when you want to start buying in, because that's when the touchdowns will start to come. And they executed that play to perfection. But yeah, 4th in yards, 3rd in touchdowns. Baker's been unreal all season long. Yeah. And Mike Evans was massive in the second half. I think the biggest surprise in this game is that the Chargers can't run the ball. Like, JK is hurt. I mean, this team has no identity when they can't run the ball. Yeah.
It's freaking Gus Edwards, man. And Kimani Vidal. Like, come on. Like, they're going to draft a running back.
Oh,
they're going to draft a running back.
They have to. They may draft
and maybe they do it early. They might do it early. They need a running back. Herbert was, like you said, battered and beaten again. Ladd McConkey. Let me see where are we at on the Ladd reception bet. Ladd 63. Where's Palmer at? Palmer had 2.
Reception, wasn't it yards?
Oh, was it yards? Okay, Palmer 502, and then Ladd is 873. So he's 373 yards behind Ladd. Ladd had another good game, 5 for 58. QJ got in the end zone as well, and Bucky Irving continues to look like one of the better young running backs in the entirety of the NFL. Let me ask you a quick question as we transition to talk about another old-ass wide receiver who just went out there and went berserk, Devontae Adams in the New York Jets.
So good.
Bucky Irving, let me ask you this, Jay. Breece Hall or Bucky Irving in a plus? Breece Hall.
I mean, Bucky looks really good. Breece Hall, let's be honest. Bucky looks really good.
And you get, I'll give you Bucky in a second for Breece Hall. Would you do it?
Nah, you can't do that.
You can't do it. Okay. Breece Hall, 21st in carries, 25th in rushing yards on the season. Bucky Irving, JRich, is 27th in carries, so a little bit lower than Breece Hall. 16th in yards, so he's a higher yardage output, 6 touchdowns for Bucky Irving. You would not take Bucky in a second for Breece Hall. You're still hanging on to the idea of Breece being this big-time monster.
Why isn't he good, Ray?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch enough of the Jets.
I'm not selling him, but why isn't he good?
Yeah, that's
fair.
Why isn't he good?
Ray, it makes no sense. Like, I can't make any sense of... Well, okay, part of it is he's got Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, and they are really fucking good. Like, Garrett Wilson seems to finally be gelling with Rodgers, and now Adams is cooking. So why do they need Breece Hall? They don't. And I think the funny part is, we talked about how good Aaron Rodgers was. Rodgers was
Wilson
only
pissed.
16 for 30 in this game. So he didn't even complete that many passes, but they all went to Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, and they just went crazy.
Yeah, Rodgers cussed out Alan Lazard for dropping the touchdown. Seam route. It was a dime by Aaron Rodgers. He cussed him out. Garrett Wilson was on the sideline cussing out Aaron Rodgers. He said, throw me the effing ball on a fade. And then Devontae Adams, he's about to go from doing jack shit for about 6 weeks. He's a few yards away from another 1,000-yard season. Somehow, Adams about to end up with 1,000 yards. 9 for 198 and 2. JRich for old man Devontae Adams.
You said he was washed, Ray. You said they can't rekindle it in New York.
Born in 92. How old am I? 31 years old. Devontae Adams would be 32 years old. What do you think about Tay going into next season? He's going to be 32 and on Christmas Eve is his birthday. Merry Christmas, Devontae.
The issue is he's under contract, but Rodgers might not be. So
what is there a world where the Jets keep Adams and move on from Rodgers, or are they both gone? Like Adams can still hoop.
Adams can play, but it seems like at this point Adams wants to play with Rodgers. So he'd have to force his way out, or they'd have to trade him. But I think that's a tougher situation because I don't think they can just cut Adams without taking a pretty big dead cap hit. Now, again, are the Jets in a position where they can't do that? Probably not. Because if they get rid of Rodgers, they still need a quarterback, and they don't have one right now, and their team is terrible. So maybe they just kind of retool the roster in the post-Rodgers era. But it does seem like Rodgers, even though they won this game, isn't coming back. So the question is can they move on from Adams and Rodgers together without taking too much of a cap hit? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm pretty sure Adams is still under contract for like 2 more years. The thing is do they want Rodgers? And all accounts have been that they do not at all. And it's pretty much done for them together right now.
Yeah, I know there was a report that they're looking for a new GM right now. They're looking for a GM.
Yeah, they hired
Taylor
says, I think.
Said Karen Rodgers leaves in the offseason. Think any QB coming into this dumpster fire can keep Adams and Wilson in wide receiver 2 territory? Good question.
I think it depends on the coach, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure. But I just don't. I'm looking at the potential pending free agent quarterbacks. There's no way Sam Darnold's going back to New York. Even if you're talking about like as a bridge. No, like I can't see Darnold going back there.
I mean, they pay him, right?
Sure, money, but that's like PTSD.
The thing is, maybe they pay somebody.
Like, who wants to go back to the scene of the crime and go live in the house that your spouse was murdered in? No, thank you.
You're probably right about Darnold. Darnold's probably not going back to the Jets.
No thanks. No thanks.
But could Daniel Jones go back to MetLife for another $40 million deal?
Like, let's really work through this real quick. I'm going to give you some quarterback names, and I'll say this: the first name that I'm gonna invoke, I believe that he deserves to start more than Will Levis does. I think that this player's done more in their career than Will Levis. Justin Fields in New York for a year as a not as the guy. I'm giving him a long-term contract, and I'm not saying this would obviously probably not be good for the pass catchers, but is Fields a viable option in the offseason for a team to bring in as a bridge?
Maybe. I think that could hurt getting a coach, though.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just going through some other teams.
He'll be cheap.
Jay.
He'll be cheap, though. So that is a big plus.
Okay. I'm just going through some other teams right now. Mac Jones. Probably lower down the list, right?
He's a desperation play for sure. But again, he'd be cheap.
We talked about Darnold. I don't know.
It's Darnold. It's Jones. Maybe you can make the case for Winston, because wasn't there also a report that Deshaun Watson is coming back?
There's no way, man. I mean, I think Winston needs to either stay where he's at, but I don't believe that there's a team that's going to pay him to be like, you come in and we're going to give you the keys to be the guy for.
But maybe he's cheap. Right? Another
They
guy
just
who could be cheap.
They're truly. I'm looking at the teams in the NFL and I'm like, okay, who's the back? There aren't a lot. First of all, there aren't a lot of spots open.
Yeah.
And then there just aren't that many. Like Russell Wilson would have been a good candidate. But you think Pittsburgh's letting him walk? Hell no.
Nope.
Hell no, they're not. So
no.
I just
people are saying Tannehill, Rudolph.
Dude, Tannehill didn't even, No, I'm not.
Tannehill ain't got a job now, so why is he getting a job next
Tannehill's got
year?
like $200 million and not be on a shitty team and get beat up, and there's been zero indication that he's even wanted to play this season. So I just
haven't seen his name in the news at all.
I don't know
Jimmy
how
G.
many.
Dalton is a good name.
No,
I think a coach OC may be okay with a Dalton.
Not to come in
Dalton's
and
been
be the
okay.
guy from the jump, to be a backup.
No,
sure.
bridge.
He's in
Bridge
he's
quarterback.
in
Because the problem
Wentz,
is
Brissett territory.
are they going to get a starter? You already talked
Let me
about
tell
it
you
off
what's
the
about
top,
to
right?
happen, man.
There's no
the
QBs.
25 QB class is not very good, and this pending free agent class is not very good, and there aren't a lot of spots. You're about to see the same starting fucking 32 quarterbacks next year, give or take a couple. Like it's about to be the
it's
same.
just the Giants and Raiders are the two spots we think will get the rookies, and everything else.
And really, everything else will be occupied by somebody that's starting right now. It's a numbers game. Tennessee's gonna have to figure something out. They need to do something. What that could be a Darnold spot in Tennessee. That could be a Darnold spot in Tennessee. I could see
Maybe
that.
with Callahan, yeah. I know
Yeah, I could see that being.
I guess he's technically McVay, but he's part of that.
He's
Taylor
part
tree.
of the tree.
Yikes.
All right,
The Taylor tree.
BTJ.
Yikes.
We didn't talk about BTJ. BTJ had a day as well. We're wrong, but goddamn it, we were right on Brian Thomas Jr. from the preseason to the fantasy playoffs. We have nailed Brian Thomas Jr. Absolute dart, bullseye, direct hit. He's awesome. Re-rank the rookies right now. Top 3 rookie receivers.
I saw this on Twitter, but I think it's Neighbors, BTJ, and Ladd. And if you want to put Thomas at 1,
I think it was Sam Sherman that put BTJ. Shout out to Sam Sherman. Did some stuff with him over at Underdog, but he had BTJ ahead of Malik Neighbors. It was BTJ, Malik Neighbors,
again, don't
Ladd
hate
McConkey.
it. Like the way he's utilizing the offense is exactly what we talked about. And you need Neighbors to have a quarterback to kind of complement his downfield ability, but you're seeing too much short intermediate right now for Neighbors, so it's not not generating the big yards.
Let's look in on
all that kind of
Maserati.
stuff.
Let's see what Maserati did. Lottie Dottie. Maserati Marv on the week.
How did he do? I honestly didn't even look at his line. I'm sure it's awful.
Greg Dortch doubled him up in yards, put it that way.
So he got strapped up by, what is it?
2 for Christian Gonzalez, 2 for 32.
Christian Gonzalez, yeah.
Kyler Murray did put a beautiful end zone fade in the bread basket, and your boy Gonzo broke it up. Marv couldn't bring it down. I mean, it was in his hands.
Baller.
Gonzo fighting through the contact. Maserati Marv, 2 for 32. 2 for 32.
He stinks, man. He stinks. Ray, how many rookie would you take, Xavier Worthy or Marvin Harrison Jr. for the rest of their career?
Marv. But I also told you I'm not that panicked about Worthy. Like he had 6 for 46 this week, 11 targets for Worthy. I've said it all year. I'm not as concerned for X Worthy as all these other people are. I still think he's going to be a big part of this offense. Led the team significantly in targets. Kelsey didn't do shit in this game. Noah Gray just catches touchdown passes. Jerry Jeudy, 11 for 108. He balled out again. Marv has just been, the expectation that was put on him was very, very high. And let that be a lesson to everybody. Let that be a lesson. Let that be a lesson.
But
I think it'd be
unfair?
BT. Pardon?
Do you think the expectations were unfair given what we've seen out of, Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, like CeeDee Lamb? Like there's a lot of first-round receivers that were very good, and he was the highest drafted of all of them.
Joe said it's really not Kyler. People are saying Marv don't have that dog in him. Lets the ball go too easy. Miata Marv, BTJ from Marv Plus. Never should have removed studying a line from Kyler's contract. Better rookie, Bronny James or Marvin Harrison Jr. Bronny dropped 30.
That was in the G League.
Bronny dropped 30 for all of y'all talking trash. Bronny dropped 30. I'm trying to practice some patience, some level-headedness. I think Marv's
tough
to
be patient on Marv, though. I
think Marv's going to be okay.
It's tough.
I really do. But the gift and the curse is right now to put him in that upper echelon pantheon. It's not right. I still think he's going to be a really good receiver. He should not have just been drafted inside the top 12 in the redraft this year. And I think That is probably one of the bigger things that is hurting him is the expectation that we put on him, that the community, that fantasy put on him to go out there and get. I mean, his line was damn near 1,100 yards, over under.
Yeah, 1050.
That's crazy to do that. So I still think he's going to be good. I mean, he could have had a touchdown. Catch the goddamn ball, man. Bring it in. So I think he's going to be all right, man.
He'll be the only first-round receiver who didn't have 1,000 yards this season.
Come on, Marcus. Talking about Bronny at the rec center, he dropped 30. Stop.
Marcus
Y'all
was
gotta
there.
stop,
He was at
man.
Planet Fitness.
Did you see that the Lakers have sold, I think it was 500,000 pieces of Bronny James jersey sales, but they said the revenue that he's generated is upwards of $50 million for the Lakers. Just Bronny James.
Shocking, right? Like, this is the whole reason why, like, 2 years ago, we said someone's going to draft Shedeur Sanders because it'll make somebody a lot of money, even if it's a 4th round, 3rd round. Like, and now he's really good, and he will still make them a ton of money. But yeah, Bronny making the Lakers money, surprise, surprise. But do you think old Bron's going to get shipped off to Golden State? I see those rumors perking
Those
up.
are some rumors, man.
Watch.
There's some rumors that LeBron to Golden State. I saw the way that he and Steph Curry looked at one another during the Olympics. I saw it, and we'll see.
It's interesting.
There was a question in the chat, man. Fantasy24 said, compare rookie seasons, Marv's rookie season versus CD's. You know what, Jay? Go look that up because I am actually going to go to ddfantasyfootball.com, as you all should, and I'm going to look at CeeDee Lamb's Trinity. When was he drafted? 2020?
2020.
CeeDee Lamb,
He had
2020.
a pretty good rookie year.
I'm going to pull up his Trinity score. CeeDee Lamb's Trinity in 2020, 5.87, 13.48 points per game. Good. Above 5. You know we like above a 5.5. And let's go to Marv's Trinity on the season. Harrison Jr. What'd I say? 5.
Yeah, you said just about 5, right?
5.87 for CD in his rookie year. Marv, this is why I'm not panicked. 6.52 score, below the line, 11 fantasy points per game. The usage is better than CD. Like he's
okay. Can we add some context, please?
You said what?
Can we add some context, please?
Yes, go ahead.
So Trey McBride has 0 touchdowns this season.
I know.
That's never happened. And they're all going to Marv. So that's already a pretty big anomaly. On top of that, CeeDee Lamb had to play with Amari Cooper, who is at that point was disgusting. He was still very, very good. And in that same season, Andy Dalton started 9 games because Dak got hurt that year. And CD still had 74 receptions, 935 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
But the score, CD was awesome. Like he's above the line. He's inside.
But he's also
the tier
playing with better
thresholds.
players, right? He's playing with better players too.
Yeah.
Right? Like Gallup had 100 targets in that season. Schultz had 89. Zeke had 71.
Better than Marv. I think CD was a better prospect than Marv. So, yeah, they're both good. The way that Marv's being used, I mean, there's nobody else in this offense outside of McBride that's getting the type of opportunity that Marv is. So, I'm fine with it. I trust
but
that the Trinity
is great. But can they bring
great.
someone in to, again, take that away? Because the moment that happens, you bring a talented receiver into this situation, why can't they see more success than Marv?
Who? T. Higgins? Not happening.
They may
Trey Harris from Ole Miss? Not happening. No. Let me make this very clear. I've got no long-term concern with Marv. My adjustment of where he should be placed is probably quite appropriate, like right outside of that top 12. I think he's a good wide receiver too that could develop into a wide receiver 1 at time, but I don't think he's some bum. I don't think he's going to be out of the league. I'm not worried about them drafting a receiver to usurp him. No. I've got no issue with Marv, man. Just has not had a good
Brian
rookie year.
Thomas Jr. or Marv?
I'll take BTJ.
Drake London or Marv?
Drake.
A.J. Brown or Marv?
A.J. Brown, not even close.
Garrett Wilson or Marv?
Garrett Wilson. I'll take all those guys
Jackson
over Marv.
Smith and Jigba
JSN. I'll take them all over Marv.
Lad McConkey or Marv? That's actually tough. I think you probably should take Lad.
If I got 10, I'll take 5 Lads, 5 Marvs. I'll split it. It's not 100.
Which one are you taking 6-4? You got to pick a side.
Lad.
Don't list it on the fence.
I'll take Lad.
Rasheed Rice or Marv? That's so easy.
Is Rice suspended? If Rice is out for the whole year, I'm taking Marv.
Just he's healthy. He's healthy.
Oh, Rasheed Rice. I'll take Rasheed Rice over Marv.
George Pickens or Marv?
Marvin Harrison.
Okay. T. Higgins or Marv? T looked so good.
T.
Romo Dunze or Marv?
Marv.
That's tough too.
Marv.
Okay. Zay Flowers or Marv?
Marv.
Devontae Smith.
Smitty.
Metcalf.
Marv.
Addison.
Marv.
Then you get Olave, Waddle, Reed. You're pretty low at that point.
Yeah.
So I would say you would have him ranked based off that analysis. There's a couple of you guys you'd take. You'd have him around 15, maybe 18 range.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver too.
Yeah. That's mid 2, not a high 2. That's a mid 2.
Right now he's a low. Right now he's a fucking 3. So I'm giving him some
3,
credit
4,
here.
depending on how
I'm letting him borrow on credit, man.
How about
right now he's
Terry
a 3.
McLaurin versus Marv? He's a little lower down.
Like
but
right
that's actually
now,
tough.
Terry McLaurin.
Well,
I mean, he's on a tear. I mean, right at this very moment, I want Terry McLaurin. But
he's a man. He's almost 30.
He's almost 30, man. He's a man. DK or Marv? Easy. Marv.
Yeah, JSN's eating into his target share too much. That DK's kind of just
28 to 22%. JSN's 28%, DK 22% over the last 8 weeks of the season. Last 8 weeks of the season. Yeah, I'm good with Marv, man. I think it's a tough game to play, and he is. You know what this is what it feels like watching it to me. And these are two different receiver prospects, way different draft capital. So I'm not comparing the players, but this is what it felt like to me. It's when Dallas tried to put Michael Gallup out there in his rookie year as the one, and it failed miserably. And then they ended up trading for Amari Cooper, I think, in week 4 of the season when it was like, Gallup is good, but he can't be the focal point of the passing attack today. And that's what it feels like with Marv, that teams are just like, we know how to neutralize you. And there's nobody else outside of McBride to really throw the ball to. So we'll just shut down this side and we'll let Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson and those guys try to beat us, Elijah Higgins. But Marv, you're not going to do it. He got his one end zone shot and wasn't able to convert. But I'm not, he's just not what we expected him to be. Jacob Coker, come on, Jalen Coker or whatever his name is. Yes, I would take Marv over Coker. I would take Marv over Coker. Stop. All right, Jay. 2 Monday night games: Chicago, Minnesota, Atlanta, Las Vegas. What else do we need to hit on before we get out of here? Is there any big time stuff that happened that we did not touch on before we get out of here? I feel like we could just talk all day, but I got to get the mock draft video recorded. I want to get that up. What else is out there that we neglected? We didn't talk about any of the running backs because it was more than just Saquon and Derrick Henry. Joe Mixon, stinker, letdown from Mixon. Chuba Hubbard, stinker, letdown. Najee didn't do shit. Tyrone Tracy, not good. Devon Achane, had he not caught 50,000 passes, he was awful in the game too. I mean, JT dropping the ball at the goal line. It was not a good week for the RB is back crowd. It was not a good week. James Conner did his thing. Jahmyr Gibbs, as always, does his thing. Tank Bigsby, nothing. Tony Pollard, thank God he scored a touchdown. Kamara caught one because he didn't do shit on the ground outside of that. B-Rob, it just was not a good running back week on the week, man.
No, it was bad. Your boy Chase Brown, though, another great week.
Yeah, Chase B.
5 carries again for Chase Brown. Holy. If they don't draft a running back, how high would you draft Chase Brown next season if they don't draft a significant handcuff? They probably will, though. But he looks very good. Very, very good.
Where do you think Chase Brown belongs? It's a good question.
I would say he probably belongs in the top 10. Where's he at now?
Go to KTC. Let's end on that.
So he's at 12. He's at 12.
Chase Brown's RB12 on KTC?
Yes. I know a running back going to take over him for sure.
Who's ahead of him?
All right, so you got Bijan Gibbs, Saquon, Achane, Breece Hall, Ray, or Chase Brown.
Give me Chase Brown in a plus.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Kyron Williams or Chase Brown.
Who?
That's tough. Kyron. You got to take Kyron probably.
Kyron still Kyron.
Kenneth Walker.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, baby. I told you this. I told you this. Yes. I'm taking Chase Brown. Yeah. That's silly, man. Who are you taking? Chase Brown or Ken Walker?
I'm taking Chase Brown. Ken Walker is
we're on the same.
Very injured.
I give you lad. You give me Chase Brown. We both hit 1 for 1 there. Yes, Chase Brown.
Now, you want to know who's next on the RB ranks? Now think about who I've said so far. Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, Achane, Hall, Kyron, Walker, Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving.
RB8. That's shocking. That's crazy. Like, this is where you say Bucky Irving or Breece Hall, they are separated by a round on KTC.
Wow.
That's it. RB8. Wow. And he is very good, though. Then you have Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown. So, again, I don't necessarily disagree with any of the players above Chase Brown. Maybe you want to take Chase Brown over Taylor.
I think I'm
Walker.
taking Chase Brown over JT. I mean,
I'm fine with that.
I'm taking Chase Brown over JT.
Jacobs? We like Jacobs, though. We both
like Jacobs. Bell cow Jacobs, man. Bell cow Jacobs.
You have Cook, who's been phenomenal all year. He's a little up or down, but he's phenomenal.
A little up or down, but when it's up, it's up. It is. Yeah, it is up. You got to tuck it inside your waistband. You know what I mean? It's up.
But yes, Chase Brown is probably a top 10 running back going forward, I would say pretty easily. Like, Henry's behind him, Monty, Mixon, Hubbard, B-Rob, Pacheco, who's been
and here, and I don't know if Hector is talking about Chase Brown in particular. Here's why I don't think he's a huge sell, is because I do expect them to pick up another running back. Like, they need another, but that's the league, right?
They had Zach Moss. He's out for the year.
His role in the passing game, his feel, the connection with Burrow, he feels like Austin Eckler light. It feels like he's going to develop into that. I'm very much in on the hold by get Chase Brown camp. And this is a player that we loved in the college profile. We met him at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
The collegiate production was there. This was somebody that we really, really were high on. Didn't get the high capital, but who gives a shit about draft capital at running back anymore? Like, his role is solidified. Like, this dude he's good, and he's going to be a part of this Cincinnati offense, I believe, for the foreseeable future. His involvement on the ground, through the air, very big fan of what Chase Brown is doing this season. He's been incredible. 47 receptions, 318 receiving yards, 4 receiving TDs, 832 yards on the ground with 7 TDs. He's going to probably finish with close to 1,500 on the season for this second-year running back. Very, very big fan of Chase Brown. All right.
How about Rico Dowdle? Third straight 100-yard game. 25 carries, 150. Didn't score.
If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I bring him back. Bring him back. Draft Nick Singleton in the 3rd. Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd. Ollie Gordon in the 4th round. Build around your other positions. I think Rico Dowdle has
much bigger needs.
Has more than proven that he's capable of at least toting the rock for the Dallas Cowboys. No need to go out and spend a top 15 pick on Ashton Genty. Hit the music, Jay. Hit the music. Appreciate everybody being in the damn building. Make sure you check out Destination Dynasty. Scott Connor's roster construction series on the wide receiver position. That is up now, live on the DD Radio podcast feed. Make sure you check out the dope content that we're going to drop on the channel today. Mock Draft Monday. I'll be dropping that around noon or 1 o'clock Eastern time today. Going through all the stuff this past NFL weekend and kind of talking through some of the college moves as well and trying to prioritize some of these players in these teams. JRich and I will be here on Wednesday. Dynasty Theory will drop for the final time on the channel for this 2024 NFL season tomorrow. I believe their show comes out. Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here, Jay?
No, enjoy the games tonight. We got the Vikings, and Ray, I hope we have a Ritter game tonight in Las Vegas. But if we don't, Kirk Cousins' job might be saved. But you know me, I want the chaos. I want Kirk to lose in dramatic fashion so he can hopefully get benched. But I think the Vikings will win handily tonight.
Couple of questions. Hector says you don't think they draft the RB in the top 4 rounds? Not in round 1 or 2, but I definitely think since he's going to get a running back, and honestly, the way that the league is, I don't care. Bring in another running back. We need somebody to keep him fresh, spell him. I think more than anything, Brown's role in the offense is secure. Bring in another running back. Let them run up the A and B gaps. Get Chase Brown the ball in space. Let him be effective, and they trust him in goal line situations inside the red zone. Love me some Chase Brown. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all being in the building. Make sure you stay locked in. We got a lot of news and giveaway stuff that we're going to do on the channel in the next couple of shows. We appreciate y'all. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and we'll see y'all bright and early on Wednesday. Wake up with me and Jay. We out. Peace.